Chapter 1. Everyone can be limitless, but not everyone will try to be. Throughout life, our actions reveal the choices that we have made. These days, it does not come as a surprise when we cannot remember a book we read the night before, or find it difficult to concentrate during a meeting. The world is so busy that these things have become the norm. But are they? Every day, we are saddled with a lot of tasks. Work, family, personal goals, and we try to execute the plans that matter to us. It then becomes difficult to remember to take care of our brains, which in the long run results in a lot of problems for us. Learning is a lifelong process of keeping abreast with change, and the most pressing task is to teach people how to learn. Peter Drucker. Few people realize that by applying some practical methods, we can enhance our brain and supercharge our ability to learn. So we accept the way our brains work even when there is a possibility that we can be better. 4 major factors that challenge our capacity to think, grow, and focus are digital deluge, digital distraction, digital dementia, and digital deduction. There is a natural tendency to turn our brain into a ready dump site for information flying around the globe. Digital deluge describes the unending flood of information that leads to anxiety and sleeplessness. At the same time, digital distraction refers to the inability for us to sustain the attention necessary for relationships, learning, or work. Digital dementia is characterized by our inability to remember details, and digital deduction refers to the practice of leaving our major decision-making to our devices. The cumulative effects of these 4 digital problems rob us of our focus and ability to think. These are the issues that this summary addresses. This tidbit provides you with the tools you need to cast off your perceived restrictions. It also outlines a blueprint for upgrading your brain so that you can achieve your dreams and live above digital distractions. So, if your current mindset, motivation, and methods are limiting your ability to achieve your dreams, then this is your manual to a brighter future. Read on and unveil tips on how to maximize your brain's capabilities and, in turn, change your life. Chapter 2. Limitlessness does not entail perfection, but a projection into the realm of possibilities. An accident he had in kindergarten left Jim Quick with a brain injury that made him slow to learn afterward. He found it difficult to focus and could hardly remember anything. This difficulty he had in learning affected other aspects of his life and made him read a lot of comic books since regular books could not hold his attention. He was labeled the boy with a broken brain and was bullied for being slow. He managed to get to a local university, but the harder he worked, the fewer results he saw. On a visit to his friend's family, his friend's father gave him a few personal growth books and urged him to read them. Reading those books inspired him to find a better method to learn, so he began a search for one that was more effective and more enjoyable. We do not need magic to transform our world. We carry all the power we need inside ourselves already. J.K. Rowling. As Jim Quick kept reading, his ability to focus grew. He started to understand new concepts because he could concentrate better. This newfound competence gave him a sense of confidence and changed his daily life. Many people are defined by their perceived restrictions, which in the real sense are no restrictions at all. If you discover that you are not living up to your full potential, you probably do not believe in your capabilities. It may also be because you lack drive, purpose, or energy required to take action. Or you are making use of methods that are not effective enough to create the results that you desire. We all have incredible potentials that are waiting to be awakened, but we also have obstacles that try to make life harder and keep us from achieving our goals, and it is up to us to recognize and defeat them. The obstacles that prevent us from learning effectively were birthed by technology. While technology is a vital part of learning, we now consume so much digital technology that we cannot control their effects. Did you know the human brain has 100 billion neurons, and each neuron is connected to 10,000 other neurons? Chapter 3. The brain's capacity is not fixed. You can learn a lot of new things for as long as you want. The brain is capable of extraordinary things that we often take for granted. It is part of the CNS, central nervous system, and acts as the control center of the body, directing information, processes, and impulses. As you grow older, the brain is changing and molding itself to your surroundings and the demands you place on it. A person's brain is subject to their genes and environment and is therefore unique to every individual. Each time you learn a new thing, the brain physically changes to reflect a new level of the mind. Learning triggers the brain to make new connections, It also entails remembering, maintaining, and sustaining those connections. Your memory is trainable, and simple changes to your environment, food, or exercise can dramatically change the way your brain functions. Your learning is not fixed. You can be, do, have, and share anything when you optimize and rewire your brain. There are no limitations to how much your brain can do when you apply the right motivation, mindset, and methods. The world is changing fast, and this change comes with a lot of challenges. To be able to cope with them, you need to learn new coping mechanisms. You're not limited to just one brain. You have a second, your gut. Scientists call this little brain the ENS, enteric nervous system. It has more than 100 million nerve cells lining your gastrointestinal tract and affects our brains, moods, and our behavior. It is responsible for the feeling you have before making a decision that you just feel is right. With all this power that we have at our disposal, we still struggle with overload, forgetfulness, and feelings of inadequacy because we were not taught how to learn or deal with these issues. Few schools have incorporated teaching how to learn into their curriculum. Most of them are only concerned with arithmetic and literature. The outdated system does not prepare an average child for the world today. Everyone has to make an effort to take charge of their learning and change the ground rules. Chapter 4. Learning is a continuous process that occurs throughout life, but your brain deserves regular breaks. Many times we read something only to forget it the next day. Psychologists call this the forgetting curve. It describes the rate at which information is forgotten after it is initially learned. Scientific research also suggests that our default ability to concentrate reduces between 10 to 40 minutes. This causes us to forget approximately 50% of what we learn within an hour and an average of 70% within 24 hours. The human brain has 100 billion neurons, and each neuron is connected to 10,000 other neurons. Sitting on your shoulders is the most complicated object in the known universe. Michio Kaku. Learning can be quite a daunting activity if the right technique is not utilized. Several smart learning techniques have been developed, but Pomodoro stands out among many. Pomodoro technique is a productivity method developed by Francesco Crillo, based on the idea that the optimal time for a task is 25 minutes. Followed by a 5-minute break. You should read for 1 Pomodoro, 25 minutes. When you read a book without taking breaks, you might remember the first 20 minutes and the latter part of what you read. But when you take 25-minute breaks, you assimilate more and give your brain time to process new information. The faster method usually helps to get the most out of any book. F stands for forget. The key to focus is to forget your distractions. You need to forget what you already know so that you can open your mind to new things. A is for act. Learning is not passive. The human brain learns faster when a person engages in various activities that reinforce new knowledge. S is for state. Learning is dependent on one's state of mind. Your feelings toward a subject in a specific situation affect your learning process and ultimately the results you get. T is for teach. Learning can be social. Having someone you are accountable to or learning to teach someone else makes learning more enjoyable. E is for enter. Enter your reading schedule into your calendar. With this, it becomes more unlikely to forget what you have learned. R is for review. An excellent way to retain information learned is to review new knowledge in multiple spread-out sessions. Asking the right questions tells the brain the things that are important to us. Ask questions as you read or go through life. Being limitless is a choice that you make every day. It is entirely up to you regardless of the circumstance. Chapter 5. Your mindset controls your actions. You can get anything you want once you are convinced that it is possible. An important element from the Limitless model is mindset, which is the mental attitude or disposition that predetermines a person's responses to and interpretation of situations. Mindset is learned from the people in our lives and the culture that forms us. The things that you've learned over time may not be true, and instead of motivating you to be better, they imprison you. Your background and circumstances may have influenced who you are, but having a limitless mindset means that you do not allow them to stop you from achieving your goals. When you understand that all your potential is entirely within your control, then the power of that potential grows. The voice in your head that judges, doubts, belittles, and constantly tells you that you are not good enough is not completely harmless. It robs you of peace of mind and, if left unchecked, can lead to depression or anxiety. Dr. Janice Vilhauer. Everyone is a genius at some level. Your ability to discover the kind of genius you are will help you through life. There are multiple forms of genius. The dynamo genius expresses their genius through creativity and ideas. The blaze genius has the extraordinary ability to connect with others. And a tempo genius sees the big picture and stays the course. The steel genius picks up the little details and does things that other people think impossible. To become a genius, you need to reframe your limiting beliefs, and there are 3 keys to doing this. Name your limiting beliefs. Limiting beliefs often start in childhood, and a good way to discover them is to be self-aware. By countering them with positive self-talk, you can overcome them. Get to the facts. Ask yourself how much of your poor performance was because of your beliefs. Look for evidence to prove that you are genuinely hampered in this area. Create a new belief. Distinguish your inner critic from your real persona, and create a new belief that trumps negative self-talk. Limiting beliefs are often revealed in your self-talk. They focus on what you are convinced you can't do rather than what you already excel at. There is a world of possibilities that comes when you have a positive mindset. With a high sense of motivation and the right methods, you are on your way to becoming limitless. Chapter 6. As you grow older, society imposes knowledge on you. You need to keep unlearning them. Every person is exposed to an endless stream of misinformation about the level of constraints to their capabilities. This leads to lies, limited ideas entertained in our minds, and can stall us or steer us in a direction we don't want. One of the limiting ideas is that our intelligence is fixed. This is untrue because research has shown that our intelligence is fluid and depends on our ability to cultivate a growth mindset. The full potential of your brain is presently available to you, and contrary to popular belief, you can use more than 10% of your brain. The key is to learn to use your brain as effectively as you possibly can. Life has no limitations, except the ones you make. When you are experiencing positive emotions, you will see more possibilities in life. Les Brown. In your quest to improve your intelligence, you will make a few mistakes. This does not mean failure, but they are a sign that you are trying something new. An excellent way to avoid mistakes is to learn more things. Sometimes learning may be difficult, but it becomes easier when you realize that there are more methods to explore. The knowledge you acquire is worthless unless combined with actions directed at your goal. Charting out life according to your preferences can be scary, but regret is more dreadful. Refuse the criticism from people you wouldn't take advice from, and remember that it is your job to break the unfair judgments you or others place on yourself. One reason why you keep struggling to get something done could be that you are unkind to yourself. Feeling bad about your lack of progress makes it difficult for you to get things done. It is better to be kind to yourself and take baby steps. Baby steps help you make incremental progress, and you can start by setting a goal and breaking a task into smaller chunks. No genius is born. With intense practice and determination, anyone can be a genius. Chapter 7. Habits are products of repetitive action, which could lead to a life change. Motivation is a set of emotions that act as fuel for our actions. It comes from purpose and an understanding of the consequences of what we do. The purpose of your life is the primary motivating factor therein, the reason you get up in the morning. In your quest for motivation, you need to discover your identity. When you consciously decide to identify with the habit or goal you want to create or achieve, you unidentify with the habit you no longer want. Once you discover the reason for a task, you will be more motivated to complete it. Purpose alone is not enough to guarantee sustainable, limitless motivation. Mental and physical vitality is the fuel needed to drive your actions. A motivation is a sum of energy, management, and optimization. Resilience expert Dr. Eva Selhub emphasizes the importance of eating high-quality foods that contain lots of vitamins that nourish the brain and protect it from stress. Your diet determines to a large extent how your brain functions. If you're unable to get natural sources for nutrients, you can get supplements that can boost your health. A study carried out at the University of British Columbia also proves that exercise changes the brain in ways that protect memory and thinking skills. In addition, having a positive peer group that encourages you to eat regularly, exercise, declutter, and stay focused on your goals also helps you to stay motivated while you do your work. Protect your brain by making healthy lifestyle choices, finding new ways to handle everyday stress, and sleeping better. Several people find paying considerable attention to their sleep patterns as cumbersome, and as a result, suffer from a lot of mental and physical disorders and lack of motivation. One of the reasons people have trouble sleeping is not being able to get their minds to turn off. But by practicing mindful meditation and focused attention, you're learning to observe your thinking, and eventually, you will be able to control it. Knowing how to change your habits means knowing how to confidently own and manage your days, focus on behaviors that have the highest impact, and reverse engineer the life you want. James Clear. Chapter 8. Having a sharp focus helps in scaling learning distractions. You become more productive when you are completely caught up in a task such that everything else disappears. This experience is called flow. Flow is characterized by absolute concentration, a feeling of reward, and a sense of effortlessness. If you're going to become limitless, you need to find the flow state as often as possible. By eliminating distractions and concentrating entirely on what you are doing, giving yourself time while doing the things you love will help put you in a flow state. If you don't know what you want, you are going to find it challenging to concentrate on one thing. Multitasking, stress, and the fear of failure are the biggest enemies of flow. Being limitless has nothing to do with multitasking. Clear your schedule, address the important things that require your attention, and convince yourself that it is okay to go through your goals, even when you do not have the perfect routine. The difference between someone living a limitless life and someone failing to ever discover their strengths is focus. Focus allows us to train our brain power on a particular task to burn through that task. The primary enemy of focus is distraction. As much as possible, try to do one thing at a time. You can also calm your busy mind by breathing deeply, doing something that you have been avoiding for a while, and scheduling a time for your distractions. Most people approach learning as a passive activity. On the contrary, it is active. Learning passively is weak and is the reason why we find it hard to remember a lot of things. Jim Quick. Also, the more you read, the more your brain evolves and your memory improves. Reading also improves your focus, vocabulary, imagination, and understanding. Ultimately, a good reader will have a better memory. Practice active learning by visualizing and associating concepts with previous knowledge, and be able to handle tasks more intelligently. Chapter 9. Attaining success requires deliberate effort, even when inconvenient. Accomplishing something big requires new approaches to thinking. A new perspective at work, in our homes, lives, and studies helps us to solve the problems that so often try to ruin our focus. When you're faced with a task, first gather information, infuse optimism into your thinking, check for all the negative aspects of the situation, be clear about your feelings concerning the problem, then look for creative solutions to it. Solving a problem can be easier when you use a mental model, constructs for thinking that help us make sense of the world around us. One of such mental models is decision-making. 40-70 rule. This rule states that one should never make a decision with less than 40% of the information and to gather no more than 70% of the information available. Less than 40% means you are guessing, and more than 70% means you are stalling over making a decision. Another way to solve a problem is to decide what you do not want to do so you can direct your attention to the essentials. You can choose this by studying your previous errors and understanding how the mistakes you made in the past ruined your progress. Many times we hardly think past the present. This is detrimental because it prevents us from seeing the whole picture. Think ahead and plan strategically so as to avoid falling into the pitfalls that you have worked so hard to avoid. At any given time, there are so many options to choose from and so many decisions to make. It is okay to feel confused or unsure of what to do. What is not okay is dwelling in that uncertainty. Your actions or inactions have the power to change your life, and deciding to be proactive can help you live a more wholesome life. Conclusion. The world as you know it has gone through a lot of changes, and in years to come, it will go through many more. Being limitless is the only way you can cope through the many phases and create a fulfilling life for yourself. A limitless person believes that their past does not equal their future. They understand that the brain is a powerful tool, and that by setting their mind to learning whatever they want to learn, they can conquer any skill. Know yourself, trust yourself, love yourself, be yourself. Be limitless because you will be shortchanging yourself if you live any other way. Jim Quick. A limitless person also has the motivation, aligns their habits with their ambitions, and is capable of committing to lifelong learning and improvement. In a world where many people do not know the right things to do, a limitless person spreads knowledge. Exercise, food, and sleep are also a part of a limitless person's routine, such that they are always ready to take up a new challenge. They follow methods that are in tandem with their life choices and do not shy away from learning new things. You can be this limitless person. In the end, it all comes down to the choices you make and how determined you are to follow through with them. With the right mindset, motivation, and method, you can be anything you want to be. Try this. Take small steps to create a new healthy habit that will lead you to success. Make it a part of your morning routine. Also, eat healthy foods to give your brain the nutrients that it needs.